There we go. That is another breakout for Bitcoin, now up above our $35,000 area of resistance. We were actually trying to break out a little bit earlier today, but we got the really big move just now over the last couple of hours. So here we are right now on the Four Flies YouTube channel. Smash up the likes if you are excited for this one, because I actually want to cover this chart with you. It is really interesting. We've got something that predicts an 87% accuracy that Bitcoin is going to see a really bullish month this month. Now, you know, it's not the kind of analysis I typically do with you guys, but there is something here. And before we get to that, I do want to discuss with you what's happened on these shorter term timeframes, because what we've seen here is a spectacular breakout of this sideways trading range. Obviously, I was saying that, you know, we could come down and capture a little bit more support, but, you know, clearly the trend was still up. And that is something that I've been telling you for a very long time. I'm obviously still in my Bitcoin long position. I'm still in my Tron long position, both of which have been performing absolutely amazingly. Tron has now hit 10 cents. And by the way, if I just zoom out and zoom out and zoom out and zoom out, that right there was my entry level, which is absolutely fantastic. Super proud of that. Take a look at this, guys. We've actually got right here a 641% profit right now on my Bitcoin position, which is absolutely phenomenal. And my Tron position, absolutely fucking crazy, has now hit 300% profit. So super happy with that performance. Guys, thank you all so much for the support on this YouTube channel. Of course, if you want to trade on the same platforms that I'm using, Bybit is the one that I made both of those trades on. You're going to get up to 30K in free trading capital when you sign up to this exchange and start trading using my link. You can also buy and sell shitcoins to your heart's desire with no trading fees. These two exchanges, also great options. I've met the founder of CoinW, super cool guy. And these two are also no KYC. So please keep in mind that obviously you can't use these exchanges if you're in restricted countries, but great options for those of you that are interested in a little bit more flexibility. Let's talk about the price action here. We've got some really interesting stuff going on. We're going to talk about a lot in this one. So go get your coffee, pause the video, and come right back. Here we go. So what are we seeing with Bitcoin? So we've seen this nice big spike from Bitcoin right now. If we measure it from the breakout point up to the high that we've set, that is a 1.9% move. So we're about 2% above. And obviously, you could say that the breakout point is right here. I think that would be very fair. And that does give us a slightly bigger breakout from breakout point to high. We are just above 2% here. I didn't actually quite measure that properly. Yeah, right there, 2.2%. So, you know, not insane yet, but definitely not small. Definitely not something which I think that I would want to ignore at this stage in the market. So definitely, you know, well worth taking into account. And obviously, this is really impressive because of the moving averages. Now, this is something that we've actually seen before. I'm going to talk to you about this again in a little bit of time in this YouTube video, but we did start to see this EMA catch up with the trend. And if you guys go back to my videos that I was making when Bitcoin was all up here at the very beginning, I was warning you guys that the price usually likes to come down into the EMA ribbon, and the EMA ribbon usually likes to rise up into the price. And when they meet, that is when beautiful things start to happen. So we've already seen spectacular performance off this 4-hour EMA ribbon, which is absolutely spectacular. Take a shot every time I say spectacular. And so that is beautiful. That is exactly what we want to see. You know, if we take a closer look at some of this kind of price action, now one of the best things that Bitcoin could print on this chart is staying above here for a little bit and then slowly coming back down to this area of old resistance, flipping it as support. That would be the best thing that Bitcoin can do right now. And it is something that Bitcoin did a little bit previously. Not enough, I would say. If we do go back and look at the trend, you know, we did do this previously. I mean, obviously, we've had a trend of just very consistently setting higher lows here. At this low, you guys remember, if you were watching me on this YouTube channel, smash up the likes, by the way. Tell me that you were here back in October, on the 13th of October. Tell me you were here on the 13th of October if you remember this. This was absolutely beautiful. You know, everybody else was shit in the bed thinking that Bitcoin was going to crash back down to 25K. And I was telling you guys, hang on a minute. It's not ideal. Yes, we did lose this trend line. Not great. But Bitcoin still hasn't set a lower low, so we don't have a reason to be worried yet. And, you know, if you just kind of really stick to these basic principles, that's going to serve you really well as a trader. A lot of people miss this kind of thing. A lot of people don't pay attention to this kind of thing. And a lot of the time, it's because they haven't learned how to trade properly, or because they're just too emotional, or a combination usually. Obviously, that is not something that we experience right here on the Four Flies channel. So shout out to those of you that are staying very switched on. VIP right now is 50% off if you want to get yourself inside. Absolutely huge offer for you guys. Obviously, you can see where I'm taking the market. I've actually just set new orders to trade this market as well today. VIPs know all about that. So that is obviously very exciting. And if we do continue on here, with what we're seeing, the other big thing that we've seen that I'm really, really happy with is the breakout of this triangle. Now, this is a triangle that I was talking to you guys about a little bit, I think, off memory. I'm not actually sure, though. I'm pretty sure I did talk to you guys about this in the last YouTube video. And we've seen a really nice breakout out of this. Now, obviously, this is a bullish trend, so we were expecting the bullish breakout out of this triangle. I didn't have a lot of faith in it, to be honest, but we did get that breakout nonetheless, which is spectacular. And off this line to the high, we are up by also about 2.2%. So nothing crazy, but definitely the right time to break out. I mean, we played out most of the 4-hour triangle here. I mean, it was mostly complete. You don't usually trade right up to the apex where the two lines meet. So this is the perfect place for a breakout. Absolutely typical of Bitcoin. Love it, love it, love it. This is spectacular. And one of the great things that we've actually done as a result of this is we've actually gone ahead and set a 542-day high. So the last time we were up here was 542 days ago. That is like a year and a half ago. Probably not, a little bit less. I'm really bad at math. Doesn't matter. And so maybe more, actually, I don't know. And so that is absolutely great. Really, really good sign here that Bitcoin is very strong. We are reclaiming highs that we haven't been to for a while. And if we do actually take a look at this from a slightly longer term perspective, what I want to highlight to you is this weekly chart right here. The weekly resistance, and there's a lot of different ways you can paint this, but the weekly resistance now, if we just kind of look at the key areas we've broken, does tell us that we could actually be on the way up to that next kind of band of resistance up here. This is where Bitcoin originally topped out way back at the beginning of 2021. Absolutely fantastic price action there. We also had a monthly open close, couple of wicks. We had a little bit of action back here, some back testing, some more consolidation, some more resistance, some more support. I mean, a very thoroughly tested price range for Bitcoin on the weekly chart, and basically nothing happening in between. So we've mainly, we pretty much bridged this gap. If you guys remember back here, now you guys, I need you to let me know if you remember at the end of 2022. Tell me I was here in 2022 in the comment section. If you remember back here, I was telling you guys I'm seeing 30K and 40K, potentially even possible. Obviously, I was very scared, so I couldn't say that with a lot of confidence, but I could say 30K with a lot of confidence. So that is absolutely great. Super, super happy with how that has turned out. We're well on our way to my second, more kind of speculative target. Obviously, now I'm a little bit more sure about that happening. Really, really nice little range for Bitcoin here. We are making good progress because one of the best things that Bitcoin has actually done in this case is it has consolidated now for a decent amount of time. S&P 500, by the way, also bouncing up beautifully off this area of support. We did fake out just a little bit below it, but we're getting a strong bounce. So, if this bounce sticks, we're in a really, really good position to continue to set new all-time highs. If it doesn't, I mean, this is the most typical bubble pop pattern ever. High right here, dead cat bounce, some fuckery in the middle. We covered this in a recent video. If you want me to make a dedicated video on this, then please tell me in the comment section as well. Make a dedicated video on the S&P 500 crash because this has massive implications for Bitcoin, which are very depressing. Really quite a bearish video if I do make it, but it still needs to be spoken about. So if you guys want to see that, then please do let me know. But yeah, like I said, one of the great things that Bitcoin has done here is ever since we've gotten up here, we have spent a long time consolidating here, about 8 days, nearly 9. So that is great. That tells us that we have had some time to cool off. And one of the good things about this is also that, Bitcoin didn't quite retrace too low. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. The reason it's a good thing is because it shows us that even when Bitcoin is mega, mega bullish, and it probably does require some sort of retracement back down, some sort of kiss of life down here and then back up. Even though that's the case, Bitcoin just can't drop down. We're finding very high floors at the moment. Previously, it would have been hard to imagine that Bitcoin would be finding support at 33K just a couple of weeks ago for most people. Yet Bitcoin just, there was so much buying power that we couldn't actually stay, we couldn't actually go back down. So, bullish consolidation like this is absolutely great. Obviously, the higher we go without some sort of real pullback, the more dangerous it's going to get. And, we've now broken up into the next key range of resistance that Bitcoin has on this chart. If we take a look at this right here on the daily time frame, we can start to appreciate this a little bit more. Let's go ahead and take a look at this back in 2022 and 2021, of course. And we've got, it's just a lot of messing about. There's a lot of sideways here. There's a lot of consolidation, that there's a lot of things that, kind of you could chalk down to being, I guess, somewhat frustrating in terms of price action. But it is what it is. We're not going to be getting bogged down in that. What's very clear is that Bitcoin does usually make quick work of these ranges, but that these ranges are typically problematic for Bitcoin as well. So it's good and it's not good at the same time. I'm not so worried about it overall, especially looking at that weekly chart that I brought to your attention right here. I'm sorry, not here, like this one, because I mean, just taking a look at this right here, it really simplifies it. When things are looking a little bit hazy, a little bit unclear, it can actually be very helpful to zoom out a little bit more and get a bigger sense of the picture, especially because this is price action. These are price levels that we haven't actually seen for a really long time. So, zooming out actually, goes very much in our favor, really serves us quite well to help, maintain perspective and make sure that we're not getting too confused with what's going on. So again, lots of very, very snappy price action in this range. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin, just very similar to what we've done previously, just zips to the top, back to the bottom, something like this. It's very much what Bitcoin has done in the past. I mean, just within a day, Bitcoin has dumped down, then recovered back up, then dumped down the next day, then recovered back up the next couple days. So very, very typical price action here for Bitcoin in that, with that in mind. And that actually, I think, feeds into what we could be seeing here, because we've now seen the consolidation. We've now had a nice breakout. I mean, the next move very much could be fairly quick. And one of the things that's actually really exciting about this is if we do actually take a trend line to measure the height of this rally and then extrapolate a breakout point from that, this does give us a speculative target of 38.5. So that would be very interesting if we did see Bitcoin go all the way up there. Again, just really, really nice trading opportunities here right now. I was telling you guys that there are some really cool bonuses that these exchanges are running. CoinW is actually going to be giving you $100 for free when you deposit $100 onto the futures account here using my link, and then make one trade. So you can make one trade worth $1, it doesn't matter. If you deposit $100 and then make a trade, they're gonna give you another 100 for free. So you're actually gonna 2.5x your capital just with a $100 deposit, because you get 50 for free just for signing up using my link. You get $50 for free. Any profits you generate with that are yours to keep. So super, super cool. That will come within 24 hours of opening your futures account, by the way. So if you don't see it straight away, don't be worried. Super, super cool. Again, BingX gives you access to traditional finance markets, which I will get to in just a bit as well. But that is very, very cool. Now, the other thing I did want to draw your attention to was this chart right here, because what we've done with Bitcoin here in terms of getting a big pump and then moving back into the EMA ribbon was exactly what we printed at the very beginning of 2023. This was January of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. And we saw a spectacular rise up, followed by a bit of a correction down into the EMA ribbon. And that resulted in a further 17% move to the upside. So if that's what we're looking at now, being a 17% move to the upside, just to help manage expectations, but also perhaps set expectations. I don't really want to set expectations, but I certainly want to manage them. 17% being close to that puts us really nicely at my yellow line. It's actually a little bit lower than that if we go ahead and take a look at how low that actually would be. It still puts us just above $40,000. And what's really nice about this with that yellow line is that if we do zoom out to understand what this yellow line actually represents, this yellow line for me represents some of the key reversal points that Bitcoin has faced. So, if we're going to be seeing a similar target to that, it actually puts Bitcoin in a really, really good place to start getting some more resistance, a really good place to perhaps, for me, start taking some more profits off my position. Obviously, I entered my long position on Bitcoin way back down here, and if we ended up going up this high, that would be a 105% move. And I traded this on 10x leverage, so that would be a 1,000% profit. Like I said, I'm already in a 635% profit, so I'm well on my way. And this wasn't with a small amount of money, by the way. I entered this position with over $100,000. A lot of the time you see YouTubers posting massive profit positions, but first of all, they're using 100x leverage because they're fucking idiots. And second of all, they're trading it with like $3,000, which they clearly don't care. They just want to do it for the thumbnail. I think the key thing to keep in mind is that you come to a channel like this one, I'm an actual trader. I actually trade for a living, so that comes with all the beauty and the horribleness of it as well. But that means that when you're talking to me, you're talking to somebody who is in the same fucking boat as you. Yes, I make money as a YouTuber with a couple other revenue sources as well. Honestly, it doesn't even make that much money these days, but ultimately the trading is and has been for a very, very long time, my main source of making money. And obviously that tells you that, you're in the right place if you're trading here, because you're not going to get anything more realistic than this. So that is great to know. So yeah, with that kind of breakout, that looks very, very exciting. It certainly looks to me like we could be looking at, some really, really nice upside. Like I said, I mean, bridging this next 6% shouldn't be too difficult. And by the way, the altcoin market has really been popping off in response to that. I mean, if we take a look at this right here, we've actually hit my resistance band, which is absolutely beautiful. That's very, very nice indeed. And we are now starting to get a bit of a pullback. Honestly, I feel like a lot of this pullback has been led by Solana. I mean, just look at this price action on Solana. It would almost be impressive, like my Tron trade, if it wasn't such a shit coin, although they're both shit coins, don't get me wrong. But we have seen a really, really nice nice big pump on Solana. I mean, the thing with these lines, and I had these lines drawn for a while, we were actually stopping at each of them, is that, this is basically the last resistance for Solana, $45. It's interesting that we got a wick above it, but if Solana gets above this $45 level with any conviction, 5%, it's going to have to be a bit bigger than the standard 1 or 3% for me, at least. I'm going to need to see a little bit more because, first of all, it's a shitcoin, but second of all, more importantly, it's just small, compared to something like Bitcoin. It's more subject to manipulation and so on. It's more subject to crazy price wicks and so on and so forth. So, if we did end up seeing a big breakout from here, something a little bit more substantial, 5-10%, then you fucking, sky's the limit. I mean, it could go very, very high. And that's the thing that we're seeing with some of these coins. If you take a look at Tron, the reason I kept my Tron position open this long was because I kind of had a feeling that we were looking at this kind of pump, and I was telling you guys about it, that we've already hit this, big green band of resistance quite a few times. So, third time within just 1 year, and especially considering we were trying to break it since 2022, it is a decent indication that this might be the real breakout. And that's why I was willing to stay in this position. And now there's just not that much resistance up ahead. I mean, I have this line drawn, but it doesn't really even need to be here. The fact is that there's just not much stopping Tron at this stage, and that's why we're seeing Tron starting to go parabolic now. So, with things like this is actually where I like to take profits. Obviously, everybody else is going to be getting excited. We're going to take a look at the 4Flies dashboard, and we're going to start to see that people are just losing their minds over this price action, which is exactly what you would expect, of course. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less or more from the dumb crypto crowds that we have over here, but if we do go ahead and take a look at this dashboard here, one sec, I just want to zoom in a little bit more. Then we've got some interesting data points here. Obviously, these have not updated yet, but Binance has been majority short today. That's probably going to change, but we'll see. Fear and Greed Index did reset a little bit, so this is something we were monitoring. Now, we can't really expect Fear and Greed Index to drop into fear or even neutral territory right now. I don't think that's reasonable. Purely because it's just the price is so high, and we haven't really seen levels like this for a really long time. Like I said, 540 days. We haven't seen these kind of price levels for a while, but even with that in mind, I'm really liking this. I think that these are the right numbers. Obviously, we're going to have to wait to see these update, which is going to happen just in the next couple of hours. Next 2 hours, we're going to see this updating. So if you are awake at that time, then please do check this out and see how this updates. This will be a very interesting point of data. Obviously, we've also got the new PMI data and the CPI data coming in within a couple of days and a couple of weeks respectively. So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye out for. Not really something that important in the market anymore, but still something that I would want to pay attention to. And the dollar index is very interesting. So, if we do take a look at the dollar index right here, we have seen a bit of a move to the upside followed by a retracement, some clear consolidation perhaps before another move up. And even despite that, we've seen strength in the indices markets here with the S&P 500. If we take a look at the UK 100 as well, I mean, it is a bit of a move up. The UK market obviously never as interesting as the US markets, and so this is great. I mean, this is a really, really good sign. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of resistance here for the S&P 500. That's why we fell down so quickly, because we didn't have a lot of support on the way down. So naturally, I wouldn't expect a lot of resistance on the way up. This is going to be the next kind of ceiling for the S&P 500 to meet at about 43.40. Right now we're at 42.40, so about 100 points away. If we're able to get up that high, you might expect a little bit of a rejection, maybe some consolidation. But as long as we can get above this yellow line, we're back in the game. We're back in the money. That is going to be absolutely beautiful. So definitely something that I am going to be keeping an eye out for, something I'm going to be keeping a watch out for as well, just to make sure that, I'm staying well informed on the kind of macro picture with these more traditional finance markets, because of course they are very, very important. Obviously, we've got some nice green in the stock markets as well. Tesla gapping up, which is beautiful. Obviously, this stock and the S&P 500 are both tradable on BingX, so that is really, really cool. I've had a trade planned on BingX. On the S&P 500 on BingX for a while. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to play out now, so I'm going to have to reset some new orders, but that looks very, very interesting. Stock market's always, a little bit easier to read. Not always. Generally a little bit easier to read than Bitcoin. Not right now. I would say Bitcoin looks pretty clear from the way I'm seeing it. So that looks absolutely great. I actually wanted to take a long position on Bitcoin above this resistance level, but I wasn't quite convinced. I felt like the risk was still a little bit too high, and I was right to think that, because if I did try and take that long position, I would have entered somewhere on this wick, and I might have gotten stopped out on this wick. Probably not. I think my stop loss would have been, my stop loss definitely would have been at least over here, if not even lower. So I wouldn't have been stopped out. I'd actually be in the profit right now, but doesn't matter. It wouldn't be a huge profit. Might become one, but you don't have to trade every single position you see. It did seem a little bit too risky for me. So yeah, and this is the thing, is that these are typically going to be considered something a little bit closer to no trade ranges just for Bitcoin specifically. But again, where this might start to open up a little bit more is if we do get the back test right here, So that's going to be something that I'm going to be keeping an eye out for as well. Now, the first chart that I showed you guys was the November charts, and this is really interesting. So what this chart shows you with that 87% accuracy is that whatever trend Bitcoin has, the existing trend Bitcoin is in, the November candle tends to continue that trend. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 instances of this playing out. My calculation might have been wrong here. It might actually be a bit higher than 87%. I'm not sure. And in only one of these, and we can actually try it. Like, look, Bitcoin's in an uptrend, we continue up on November. Uptrend, continue up. Uptrend, continue up. Bitcoin's in a downtrend, so we continue down. Bitcoin's in a downtrend, we continue down. We're in an uptrend, continue up. This is the exception. Bitcoin was in an uptrend back here throughout the second half of 2021, but November was actually where we started to turn and take this thing downwards. The next November, we continued the trend down. And this November, I mean, the ball's in your court. Now, there's nothing particularly scientific about this. There's definitely perhaps some elements of, self-fulfilling prophecy. But at the same time, obviously everybody was expecting a very bearish October, and you had me coming on this YouTube channel telling you that if you're saying that, you're a fucking idiot, and if you're listening to people saying that, they're a fucking idiot. And then hopefully you protected yourself from those kind of very foolish bits of analysis. And this is kind of similar. It's not super strong. I don't think it's that weak because of how strong this correlation seems to be. But the bottom line, forget the November thing, forget all of that stuff. Just look at these actual monthly candles. We've had so many months of consolidation here within an existing uptrend. We set this uptrend at the very, very beginning of this year, and we've had a long time. 6 months really, a little bit more than that, 7 months of consolidation here. I mean, let's actually count this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles that have closed within this consolidation range, and that's not counting the candle that took us into the range or the candle that took us out of the range, because we didn't get the breakout at the very beginning of October, did we? We might have actually. Let me check. I'm not sure. When did we get the real breakout? Yeah, we got the breakout. Yeah, we didn't get the breakout at the beginning of October, so we actually spent most of October in the consolidation range as well. So you could call that even up to 7 or 8 months that we traded sideways. So to me, this is not a bad chart. I mean, forget November. It doesn't even matter. Bitcoin just got a breakout out of a really long-term consolidation pattern within a long-term uptrend. You can have your opinions about Bitcoin being in a bear market, and they're very valid. I think that they're fair, and I agree with you in a lot of the cases. I still think that Bitcoin, kind of isn't. I mean, I was going to say should be in a bear market. I don't really know, but it certainly looks like it could be in a bear market right now. And I'm going to have to wait to see more resistance levels break. But if we get above 40K, I mean, there's not much macro resistance between Bitcoin and that $69,000 all-time high. So you tell me, bro. It looks pretty good to me. And just from this kind of shorter term analysis here, looking at this monthly chart, long consolidation followed by a breakout, it's not to say that this next candle has to go up, but after long consolidations and big breakouts, it typically does. I mean, look at this one right here. This was back in 2015 back here. We got that breakout, and the trend just continued for a whole 2 years, basically, nearly 2 years. It was 2 years, a little bit more than 2 years actually, that the trend continued on upwards. I'm not saying that we're going to be I'm not showing you the chart. I'm not saying that we're going to be in a 2-year uptrend like this back here. We had this consolidation here, and then we got the move up. I'm sorry, I know, but whatever. Sorry. And so I'm not saying that we're going to get the same kind of 2-year uptrend again, but again, this next candle, you know what I mean? It doesn't look that bad to me. It certainly doesn't look like a particularly bad position to me, the way I see things right now. Obviously, I still think that we're going to have to come down to that 30K level eventually. I would love to see that after we hit some of our bigger areas of resistance, perhaps the 37.5, 38.5, this entire pocket over here. Would be a very, very interesting level to start seeing some rejections, maybe even a steep rejection. I mean, just imagine the hype that's going to be built up by Bitcoin doing this, and then, just kind of getting the hype on this move, and then the, despair, the depression over here. I mean, if this kind of thing happened, I would have to expect, especially if it takes some time, if it's not quick, I would have to expect that we see the 4-slice dashboard reflect a much lower fear and greed index over here, perhaps even getting close to fear. Maybe not extreme fear, but, the low neutral levels, the high fear levels, at least I think, would be very, very reasonable to expect at that stage. So definitely something that I am going to be keeping an eye out for with this market here. And if we actually take a closer look at some of the things that have happened, one of the patterns that's actually been quite popular for Bitcoin here throughout the years, in fact, in a lot of the last bull markets that we actually triggered, in all of them, actually, the last 3 bull markets we triggered, because we're not counting this one. This was just a weird rally that, wasn't a bull market clearly because we didn't set a new all-time high. We had a downtrend followed by a rising wedge, followed by a breakout. And over here, we had a downtrend followed by a rising wedge, followed by a big breakout. Over here, we've got a downtrend followed by a rising wedge. I don't know. Again, you tell me. We're looking at fractals here. Again, not the most scientific form of analysis, but what we can do by looking at this kind of chart is actually extract the characteristic of Bitcoin, because that's what fractals are useful for. A lot of people don't actually understand this as well, because whatever, tons of reasons for it. But one of the things that we can certainly do with these kind of charts is actually just look at, what is the characteristic of Bitcoin? We're in a long downtrend, and then Bitcoin is coiling up. This is what's happening. Bitcoin is coiling up within an uptrend. Its highs are getting lower, its lows are getting higher. We're kind of compressing, a little bit like this, getting narrower, and then eventually we have to pop. And obviously, because the trend is moving up, typically this is going to be good for Bitcoin. Now, actually, in traditional finance markets, when you form these kind of rising wedges, these are very bearish, and they actually tend to break down. Bitcoin is just one of those things. You either know it or you don't. You've either been here for 6 years like I have, or you haven't. You don't need to be here for 6 years to see this, obviously, but you either know it or you don't. It's just one of those things that tends to break to the upside for Bitcoin. It's just a very, very popular pattern that Bitcoin likes to break out of. So again, if we're going to be seeing something like that, then this is all-time high standards of charting here. And one of the reasons I think all of this is interesting is because I'm still not convinced that we're going to get the all-time high. Now, maybe that's exactly what we need to get the all-time high. It's people like me not being convinced, people like you not being convinced. But at the same time, what a spectacular bear market rally this would be if we continue to rise up. I want you guys to keep this image in your mind that this could be a bear market rally, because I don't know. I mean, look, a lot of the time when you break all-time highs, it doesn't really look realistic until you're quite close to it. So fair enough. But to me, it could. The halving's around the corner. That's 3-4 months away, 5 months away, whatever. It's not that far away. It makes a lot of sense for Bitcoin to be trending up right now. So it very, very well could be the path to Bitcoin's next all-time high. But if it's not, what a spectacular bear market rally. Please keep that in mind. I don't want you guys to be getting too caught up with the hype, especially, again, if we start to see this fear and greed index pushing way over to the extreme greed territory. That's where I think that this is really going to start to require some eyebrows being raised and some extra attention being paid to it as well. So if we do take a closer look at what these kind of pumps have resulted in, a 3,400% back here in 2016, 2017, 360% here back in 2020, 2021. If we just get a 200% move to the upside now, that is going to put us at $100,000. So again, it just really puts into perspective how we don't need to pull off huge price moves percentage-wise in order to reach these really, really astronomical price levels here. So very, very cool. Definitely very, very exciting. If we take a look at this chart as well, it really gives you an idea of where that kind of, gap would be to get up to the next all-time high. This line represents the previous all-time high, which is off screen. It was 1,300% away. This line, to get to the next all-time high, that was 244% away. This line right here, just to show you how realistic this analysis could be, only 46% away. So, this shows us that the next all-time high, if we set it at $100,000, which probably won't happen, we're probably going to go a little bit above or a little bit below. I certainly hope above. It would only be 46% higher than the previous all-time high. So, it really helps ground us, helps us, again, maintain, manage, control expectations, which I think is really, really important in trends like this. We're getting into a stage where, a lot of people are going to be able to make a lot of money. Previously throughout this market, throughout this year, where you got people like me, people like other really, really competent traders making money, but not many others. Now we're kind of entering that stage where it's generally going to be easier for other people to make money as well. And that's also where people, the sharks, the real people who really know how to trade, the real traders, they're going to fucking blow their accounts up to the upside. It's going to be absolutely amazing. But a lot of the people that are smart, but perhaps haven't had enough time in the game or haven't really learned from the right resources and so on, they'll make some money and then lose most of it. And that was, probably a lot of you guys watching this video, unfortunately, because that's just how these markets go. It's just, that's just how it is. That's how it was for me. It's going to be this way, if you haven't, kind of been around the block a little bit. already. So kind of keeping expectations in mind. Just I want you guys, I mean, look, there's a lot of you guys that are really fucking smart and sensible watching this YouTube channel, and then there's a lot of you guys that aren't quite there yet, and you need to bridge that gap fucking as soon as possible, because the longer you're not there, the longer you're leaving money on the table, the longer you're risking your money, and kind of suffering the risk of losing it. So please keep that in mind. But as it is right now, absolutely spectacular breakout. I am loving this. I think it looks really good. I think this market is so ripe with so many trading opportunities. Solana looks absolutely beautiful. This is definitely something that I am going to be interested in trading as well. It's kind of consolidating right now, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. Tron, I've actually taken some profits on my Tron position today when I was at 270%, 280% profit. Super happy with that, obviously. Very much liking how that's been going. I wonder if I can show it to you. Yeah, not really. It's just a little post here, so I'm not going to bring that on screen. I should have prepared that before a video, but 285% profit. Closed a little bit more of my Tron position up here. Honestly, this is a good position for me to look to close the entire position, because like I said, I think now we're starting to enter territory where people are just all getting very excited, which perhaps just might not be totally sustainable for the market, at least for the short term. So I'm gonna keep looking at this. It's at the 10-cent round area of resistance, and this area has been problematic for Tron in the past. You can kind of see some really some trouble back here in 2021. Some big support. Not a whole lot of resistance per se, like not reversal resistance, so it's not that bad. And I guess that's one of the things that makes this chart kind of dangerous right now, is it's hard to see where the actual exit points are. And I really like exit points. I really like kind of planning where I'm going to be scaling out of my positions, because it's what allows me to actually keep my profits. A lot of people can make money, but can you keep it? And that's kind of that's what I was talking to you guys about a couple of minutes ago. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. Obviously, I'm going to be right here with you guys as we continue with the motions in this market. If you have enjoyed this video, do me a favor and smash up those likes. Make sure you're subscribed. You got the bell icon checked as well, and obviously check out all of these bonuses that are available to you. You've got over $196,000 in bonuses available. Bybit remains my top exchange, my favorite exchange that I've been using in this crypto market for many years. You're going to get up to 30k when you start trading in it in free trading capital using my link over here. And CoinW, when you deposit $100 and make any trade worth even $1, they're going to give you another $100 for free after 24 hours. And again, you can trade with that, so you can actually double your trading capital, more than that, because you get 50 for free when you sign up. Both of these are no KYC exchanges, so great for flexibility. And then the final note on these exchanges, I have to keep stressing this: do not use them if they're banned in your country. You're not allowed to. Quite simple. Wish it was different, but it's not. So yeah, you're just gonna have to comply with your laws there. Again, if you guys do want to join 4Flies VIP, the steps are right here, or right like this on screen. Yeah, you can just follow these steps to send me a direct message. It's literally me right here on Telegram. I'll give you all the information, 50% off right now. Guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.